Hey everyone, my name is James and welcome back to ChippyGaming. So today, I'm here to give you 12 brand new tips and tricks that you can start using today in Terraria 1.4.1 and also Terraria 1.4. Like every episode of my life hack series, all of these are actually based on my recent playtime with Terraria. I learned a bunch of these since the last episode and I'm really excited to share them. This video actually caters to a bunch of different playstyles, so hopefully by watching this video, you'll definitely learn something new. Before we get into it though, if any of these help you out, make sure to help me out by giving the video a big fat thumbs up. While you're at it, why not subscribe to ChippyGaming? According to my analytics, nearly 70% of you that watch these videos are not actually subscribers, so change that today and join the channel. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so to kickstart the video, let's start by talking about pylons. Pylons were added in Terraria 1.4, and they're actually pretty cool. Essentially, they're wireless teleporters that work between multiple biomes, meaning if you have a couple of bases on your world, moving between them should be pretty seamless. However, the way they were added is a little strange, and getting them is weirdly even stranger. It turns out to get a pylon, you need certain NPCs living in a certain biome with certain NPCs, and they need to have a certain level of happiness. Well, with this simple trick, it basically negates 90% of the work, because it turns out if the arms dealer is living on his own with the nurse, he's more than happy to sell you a pylon. So here's the jungle pylon. He doesn't really like the jungle, but he really likes the nurse. Now, this works for pretty much every biome. I know it doesn't work for the snow biome, because even though the arms dealer really likes the nurse, he really doesn't like the snow. So just to show you all again, here they are in the hallowed desert, and as you can see, he wants to sell me the desert pylon and the hallowed pylon. But yeah, like I said, he weirdly hates snow and will refuse to sell it to you if he lives here. So this next tip is not one I imagine too many people know, because I never see people talking about it, but chairs are way more useful than you first thought, because when a player is actually sat in a chair, their life regen is greatly increased. So you can see the rate mine is going up right now. If I sit on the chair, you can see that it's speeding up a fair amount. Obviously it gets faster as it gets closer to being maximum health, but that really is a noticeable difference. And this even works if you're lucky enough to have a Chippy's couch. That's right, it works for all the chairs. So what I would recommend is, if you're a brand new character and you're starting out, maybe you've got yourself in a bad situation and you're hiding in a hole, place down a chair, sit in a chair, maybe put a campfire by your side, and that way you'll find yourself in max health way quicker. So this next tip is exclusive to the PC version of Terraria, but it's pretty handy to know if you really enjoy journey mode. So right now, if you want to open up the power menu, all you got to do is click escape, move your mouse all the way over to the bunny, click on the bunny, and then you've got the power menu. But once you're done, if you want to go back to the crafting interface, you either close off the menu entirely, or you go back to the bunny and click close, and then you can craft. Well, there is actually a slightly faster way of doing this. So all you got to do is click escape to open up your inventory, and then the letter C on your keyboard will actually flip you between the power menu and the crafting interface. Saves a couple of seconds, but you know what? If you played Terraria for 100 hours, those couple of seconds, they do add up. So if you decide to challenge yourself in Terraria and play exclusively as a mage, your starting weapons are actually pretty limited. Right now, you could get a Wand of Sparking, which isn't too amazing, or you can get yourself a gem staff. Now, to get a gem staff, it's not too hard, especially some of the lower tier gems, but we all know that world gen is kind of a nuisance. So right now, I only have 5 amethyst. It's not really enough to make a staff, but one thing you can do is grow your own gem trees. Now, this is a little bit of a gamble, because each tree has a chance to drop between 0 and 5 gems, but if you have 5 like I do, chances are you're probably going to come out with a little bit of profit. So all you need to do is place these on some stone in the underground and basically just let them grow. You need 3 blocks on either side for them to grow, and after a little while they'll grow and you can yield those gems. Hey, there you go. There's one of my gem trees. I was making my area a little bit bigger just so they had more room to grow. All right, let's see how many gems I get. Like I said, it is a bit of a gamble. Hey, look at that. So we got 2 amethysts. So we gained an amethyst. Now, I didn't really say it, but to make a gem acorn, all you need is a gem and an acorn. You slap it down, you make sure it has enough room up and to the side, and you're good to go. So this next tip is one I really did learn the hard way. So try and learn from my mistakes. This is my recent hardcore world that I did on Chippy's couch. And unfortunately, I met my end in hard mode to some dynamite. Oh no! So one tip that I wish I had just followed is actually making the grand design. The cool thing about the grand design is it allows you to cut wire from any distance. So if there's any trap that's on the map still, you can get rid of it without even getting close. And it's not actually too hard to craft. You just need some wrenches, you need some wire, go speak to the goblin, go buy a ruler, and you craft it all at a tinkerer's workshop. So you want to make the multicolored wrench, and then you can see I have the grand design. This one hurts so much, but it really is so true, because if there's a trap like, say for example this one, I can cut it from all the way over here, and I guess a good thing is I can put it back as well. So not only is it safe, it's also very useful. Follow this advice, please, if you're ever going to play hardcore. So this one isn't a Terraria life hack, but it's definitely in that realm. If you're ever in the market for some official Terraria Relogic merchandise from www.terraria.shop, it's worth knowing that Relogic actually hooked everyone up with a 15% discount code. So the code is simply SMALLCHIPPY, and that will save you 15% on absolutely everything on the website now and forever. And by using the code, not only do you support Relogic, you also support my channel, ChippyGaming. So thank you in advance if you use it, and I really hope you like what you bought. So in the time before Terraria 1.4, one of the tips I would recommend the most is to use King Slime to your advantage. So back in the day, if you spawned King Slime underground in hard mode, it could be a very easy way of quickly farming up some Souls of Light or some Souls of Night, because essentially each one of these little minions counted as an enemy in that biome. So if you had an item that just required being dropped from any enemy, it was a really easy way to farm stuff. Well, that tip is still around, it's just a little bit different. You can still use King Slime to your advantage if you want to get something like the Pirates map. It also works really well for the Amarok, the Yellets, or the Kraken. All you need to do is spawn in a King Slime and then take him down. At this point in the game, you're going to take him down pretty quickly. This is for the worthy, so our King Slime is going to be absolutely massive. But what we want to kill is these little enemies right here. So there we go. There is my Pirates map. That only took me like a couple of seconds, and I can now spawn in the Pirate Invasion. So this next tip is directly aimed at anybody that wants to try the Featherworthy seed in Terraria. For those that don't know, it's a special seed that makes Terraria way harder by doing a bunch of wacky things to the world. One of the things it does is it makes Skeletron Prime fire real bombs, which very quickly destroys your world. So my tip is to grab as much dungeon brick as possible and build yourself an arena. Now, what we did in our Let's Play is we just built a basic box. It actually went way higher than this. It went up to about here and it ended about here, but it meant that my world wasn't completely destroyed. So I'm going to show you all real quickly what that looks like. All right, then, let's see my beautiful world be destroyed. I'm really not looking forward to this. Okay, what's going to happen? All right, so one of its... oh, there we go. Here's a bomb. And just like that, just like that, the mayhem has already begun. Oh, God, it's over here as well. As you can see, it drops a lot of bombs during the fight. So if you're doing this once or twice... Oh, God, it's so easy to destroy a world like this. It looks like absolute havoc. So this next tip was actually inspired by the comment section of the previous Terraria life hacks. So a big shout out to you if you're one of the people that recommended this. Now, this is a tip for those players that want to have both evils in their world. Say, for example, you have a corruption world, but you want a little bit of crimson so you can farm for crimson items, and you don't want to use a special seed or cheat in items. It is actually possible, and it all revolves around a graveyard. So for this, you're going to need a couple of tombstones. If you're like me, you've probably got a good number of these around the world. Like, look at that. There's just one there. I got massacred by an alien hornet on November 4th. All right, rest in peace. I think it's 6, maybe 7 you need to place down. But you need to do this around the Dryad, and it actually needs to be in hard mode. And there you go. She will sell you crimson seeds. Now, all you need to do is place that on a basic bit of dirt, and you will start spreading the crimson. Build out yourself a little biome using dirt, and just keep this going. It is weird that this is only in hard mode. I feel like this is something that should be available at any point in the game. So just to show you real quick, you need some bold dirt, and then look at that. I got a little bit of crimson in my world. All right, I'm going to get rid of that before it spreads. This is my actual nightmare. I really don't like the crimson. So this next tip is for anybody wanting to try blood moon fishing, because if you go into it without any kind of preparation, it can very quickly become a bit of a nightmare. So these are two designs that I came up with last year during my summoning adventure that should get you both of the best weapons from this event. This first one is for pre-hard mode, and the aim here is to trap zombie mermen. So what you want to do is you want to basically fire your little anchor down here, and what will happen is the zombie merman will actually get trapped here or here. And then what you can do is you can come down to the middle and start smacking away at them. And this is actually how you get the vampire frog staff. So this one looks really simple, but it's actually very effective. This one is for the Dreadnoughtalus. This is a mini boss, and its AI likes to move around in circles and fire this, you know, blood vomit at you. Being in a box actually protects you from that vomit. And because the AI is moving in a circle around you, if you have a whip, you can basically kill the enemy as a summoner. But I'm going to show you all that right now. Alright, there we go. There's my zombie merman, and as you can see, he is now trapped. So I can come down here, I can use a snap thorn, which is what you'd probably have at this point in the game, and you can take him out. Because it's hard mode, I have a giant tortoise. Alright, here we go. Here's the Dreadnoughtalus. So what I want to show you is just its AI. As you can see, it spat a bunch of stuff, and now it's spinning around the character. So your goal is basically just to stay in the box and whip it. So in Terraria 1.4.1, they added in a brand new NPC called the Princess. Now, the Princess is really cool because not only does she sell some pretty interesting items, she also drops one of the best weapons in Terraria. So this is the Resonance Scepter, and at the point when the Princess becomes obtainable, this thing is extremely powerful. I really would recommend trying this out. Now, the thing about the Princess is to obtain her, you need to have every single NPC that's available in Terraria already living on your world. So my real big tip for this is to make sure that you get the golfer and the stylist in pre-hard mode. You see, the golfer spawns in the desert, which isn't too bad, but once you hit hard mode, that instantly gets stronger enemies, and chances are, by the time you actually get to the golfer to free him from his trap, he's probably already going to be dead. And I find the same thing with the stylist. Now, for the tax collector here, I have an even better tip. So to get the tax collector, all you need to do is kill the wall of flesh and then purify the tortured soul. But what I didn't know for the longest time is that immediately after you kill the wall of flesh, for the very first time on your world, a tortured soul appears. So it's a really good idea to bring some purification powder in anticipation for this, because it's way easier than trying to wait for him to spawn in much later. So let me show you how this works. We're going to spawn in the wall of flesh. This also gives me a nice little chance to show you this weapon, by the way, because it is really cool. As you can see, it just basically spawns this little, like, magical aura where you click your character. So the wall of flesh is dead. Now we need to look for the tortured soul. So my tortured soul spawned in down here. And as you can see, I now have the tax collector. But that's just really cool. It's easier than waiting around for him later on. Another little thing I'm going to throw onto this is try and get as many NPCs as possible in pre-hard mode. You see, the thing is about the party girl is she'll spawn in after you have a couple of NPCs, but it's weirdly kind of rare to get her. So try and give yourself as much time as possible for that random chance to occur so that you can get the party girl, because the party girl is probably the hardest one to get out of all of the NPCs for some weird reason. So this next tip is one that I pieced together during my Thanksmas stream last month. So a big shout out to you if you watched it live and basically saw me put this together in my mind. Now, this is kind of in response to the nerf to the Reaver Shark that was added in 1.4. So it used to be that you were able to fish up a pickaxe that would mine hellstone, and then that way you could skip over the Eater of Worlds. And this was really good for players that were having a tough time with this boss. But there is actually a solution, and I never really thought of it before. You don't actually need to kill the Eater of Worlds to get yourself a Nightmare Pickaxe. You only need to kill a part of it, and it doesn't really matter how you do this. You can use explosives, or you could be like me and use some pretty underpowered summons at the start of Master Mode. So you only really need to break up a few little segments. So let me show you real quick. So how this works is every single time you break a segment of the Eater of Worlds, it has a chance to drop Shadow Scale. Now you only need a couple of pieces of Shadow Scale to actually make the pickaxe. So if you can survive the first little bit of the fight, but you can't really go all the way, especially once it starts to split and multiply and get a little bit harder, it's a really easy way of just getting the pickaxe and then basically moving on, getting some Hellstone stuff and maybe coming back to the fight. That's what I actually have to do on the stream. So as you can see, things are getting pretty overwhelming pretty quickly. You know, it's very easy to get caught in a trap. But by now, I've actually got all of the ingredients I would need for a Nightmare Pickaxe. So it doesn't really matter if I win or lose this one. I'm probably going to lose it knowing me. But at least I have all the ingredients to go and get Hellstone. So for this final tip, I wanted to bring you something that I learned from the comment section of Chippy's Couch during our endless saga against the Old One's army. So this last tip is actually a weapon recommendation that really helped me with the hard mode tier 2 Old One's army and also tier 3. And the weapon recommendation is the Clinger Staff. So this is a weapon that's often overlooked, and the main reason for that is because it comes from a corrupt mimic. Now, most Terrarians will tell you what you need to do is get the Hallowed Mimic and get the Daedalus Stormbow, which is actually very solid advice, but the Clinger Staff is equally as good in the right situation. Alright, so there's my Clinger Staff. Now, the reason why this is just so good is because what you do is you have the Old One's Army portal and you slap this in front of it. Every single round right at the start, it lasts the whole round. And it basically keeps enemies back entirely on one side. So all you've got to do is focus on the other side. You know, occasionally come back and check on it. But these things are so powerful, it basically halves the event for you. So I just want to show you that in motion. So I slap down the Clinger Staff. And as you can see, they just can't walk through. Now, right now, it's a little bit biased because I am using better armor than you would probably use at this point. But even if you were using the equivalent armor, you would basically just hold back one side. The knockback is really good on it, so then you can focus on the other half, and it makes the event way easier. This is like a top tip if you really like and want to do the Old One's army. Alright, so that about does it for today's episode of Terraria Life Hacks. Now, like I said at the start, make sure to give the video a big fat thumbs up and also subscribe if you're new. Terraria Life Hacks as a series is actually going to turn 6 years old this year, and it would be really awesome to put out a new one on the anniversary. I'm always convinced that there are more tips and tricks to learn, so if you do have any, leave me a comment down below. Alright, that about does it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.